The legend of the Stillwater Peak has been told for generations, though few truly understand its meaning. They say that at the summit sits a mirror made of frozen light that reflects a person's greatness. For centuries, the ambitious, the loud, and the powerful have scaled the mountain. They climbed with iron cleats and heavy hammers, shouting their names into the canyons to hear the echoes. They fought the wind, cursed the ice, and wrestled the mountain as if it were an enemy to be conquered. But when they reached the summit, they found nothing but a gray, churning mist. The mirror would not show itself. The reason was simple, though the world had forgotten it. Greatness is not a prize to be seized. It is a frequency to be matched. And that frequency is the sound of peace. The myth of the external forge. We are raised in a culture of becoming. We are told that greatness is something we must build, like a skyscraper, or capture, like a flag. We view our minds as battlefields where we must defeat our laziness, crush our competition, and whip our spirits into submission. We believe that the more noise we make, the more we grind and hustle, the closer we get to the pinnacle of human achievement. But this is the great illusion. To seek greatness through turmoil is like trying to see the stars through a storm. The clouds of anxiety, the winds of ego, and the lightning of anger create a chaotic atmosphere where the true light of the self cannot penetrate. True greatness is not a destination. It is a latent architecture already built within the human soul. Every person is born with a blueprint of genius, a unique song that only they can play. However, you cannot hear a whisper in a hurricane. To achieve anything of lasting value, whether it is a masterpiece of art, a breakthrough in science, or the simple nobility of a life well lived, the internal storm must first be silenced. Consider the nature of water. When a lake is whipped by wind, it becomes opaque. It churns up silt from the bottom. It breaks the light into jagged, unrecognizable fragments. You cannot see the treasures at the bed of the lake, nor can you see a clear reflection of the sky above. When the wind dies down and the water becomes perfectly still, two things happen. Clarity, the silt settles. You can see through to the depths. Reflectivity, the surface becomes a perfect mirror for the heavens. The human mind operates by the same law. When we are in a state of internal war, fighting ourselves, envying others, or living in the frantic future tense, our mental resources are scattered. We use 90% of our energy just managing our friction. This leaves only 10% for creation. Greatness requires the inverse. When a person reaches a state of internal peace, the friction vanishes. The energy that was once spent on worrying about the outcome or defending the ego is suddenly liberated. This is what athletes call the flow state and what mystics call grace. It is the moment when the you gets out of the way of the greatness. There is a common misconception that peace is passive, that to be peaceful is to be a doormat or to lack ambition. In reality, peace is the highest form of power. Think of a master archer. If his heart is pounding with the desire to win the gold medal, his hand will shake. If his mind is filled with the fear of missing, his vision will blur. The archer who wins is the one who has found a still point within himself. He does not try to hit the target. He becomes the arrow. He is peaceful, and therefore, he is precise. Achievement is not about the force of the blow, but the focus of the intent. A laser can cut through steel not because it is angry or loud, but because it is coherent. Its light is all moving in the same direction, in perfect phase. Peace is the coherence of the human spirit. When your thoughts, your heart, and your actions are no longer at war with one another, you become a laser. The garden within. If we return to the imagery of the gardener, we see that greatness is a biological process, not a mechanical one. You cannot force a rose to bloom by pulling at its petals. You cannot order a tree to grow taller by shouting at it. To grow a great garden, you must provide a peaceful environment, good soil, steady water, and protection from the frost. Growth is what happens naturally when the conditions are right. Your greatness is the seed. Your peace is the soil. If you spend your life in a state of internal conflict, you are effectively salted earth. Nothing can take root. But when you cultivate peace, through forgiveness, through presence, and through the shedding of unnecessary desires, you create the rich soil where your natural talents begin to. We often ask, What must I do to be great? The more profound question is, who must I be? History's most enduring figures were often those who stood in the center of a storm and refused to let the storm inside them. When Marcus Aurelius led the Roman Empire, he didn't find his strength in the size of his legions, but in his meditations. He knew that if he lost his internal equilibrium, he would lose his empire. When we look at the great inventions of the world, they rarely come from a place of frantic stress. They come in the eureka moments, the bathtub, the stroll through the woods, the half-sleep of morning. They come when the mind finally stops fighting and starts listening. So, how do we find this greatness? How do we find the peace necessary to achieve? The surrender of the mask. Much of our internal unrest comes from trying to be someone we are not. Greatness begins with the peace of self-acceptance. When you stop trying to be a second-rate version of someone else, you finally have the energy to be a first-rate version of yourself. The mastery of the moment. We lose peace when we live in the dead past or the unborn future. Greatness can only be achieved in the now. The peaceful person treats the task at hand, whether it is washing a dish or leading a company, as the most important thing in the universe. The silence of the ego. The ego is a noisy neighbor. It wants praise, it fears blame. As long as you are working for the applause, you will never be great, because your power is in the hands of the audience. Peace comes when you work for the work itself. Imagine again the traveler on Stillwater Peak. This time, the traveler does not climb with hammers or shouts. He climbs slowly, breathing with the wind. When he feels tired, he rests. When he sees a flower in the crag, he stops to admire it. He is not conquering the mountain, he is walking with it. He reaches the summit, and he is not panting. His heart is a steady drum. He sits in the silence. Slowly, the gray mists part. The mirror of greatness appears. But it is not a piece of glass. It is a pool of water, perfectly still. The traveler looks into the water. Because he is peaceful, the water is still. And because the water is still, he can see his own reflection with terrifying clarity. He realizes that the greatness he was looking for wasn't at the top of the mountain. It was the person who had the strength to be quiet enough to see. The world tells us that to change the world, we must be loud. We must fight. We must be warriors. But perhaps the most revolutionary thing you can be is a gardener of your own soul. Perhaps the greatest achievement is not a trophy, but a mind that is not at war with itself. When you find that peace, you don't have to chase achievement. Achievement will find you. It will be drawn to your clarity like a moth to a flame. You will move through the world with a quiet weight, a gravity that pulls opportunities and solutions toward you. Greatness is not a shout. It is the profound, resonant silence of a soul that has finally come home to itself.